hit start streaming, but we didn't come up. Yeah, I don't think you actually are. It's oh, there it goes.
Cool.
I'm still crashing frame.
All right. It's gonna be awesome. I'm excited. I can tell you're fired up about it. Get the wheel in the spot here. Grab this sucker.
This
Yeah.
This will obviously need some tweaking.
What's your problem? What's wrong with it? What do you not like? I mean, again, this is the first time we've had it out. I think it's working pretty well.
Camera placement is gonna have to.
What do you not like about it?
It needs to go back and up.
It was never. It's higher than it's ever been. However, it's never been this high before. It's never been this high.
Okay, and then back and down.
Back and to the left. That's what you're supposed to say. Makes it funnier.
Hey, Edvin.
What up, Edvin? You know, I'm going to lightly touch on the specs of this and then just get into the meat of it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to go crazy on the spec stuff this time around. Try to trim this thing down a little bit.
Actually, I don't like not having my computer and screen in shot.
I do like it. I think it's a marked improvement.
There we go.
No, now why would you do that?
Because I want my screen in shot.
No, that's not good. It looks better without the screen in shot.
I like the screen in
Why?
shot.
Why? I'm serious. Why?
I just like
that's
it better.
part of the that's part of the things that I liked about that.
No, but see, where am I supposed to? I need a thing over here.
What's that? What thing?
Like a table, or is that little thing is that little step stool a table? Well, then I'm gonna keep crashing frame. Brent angry. Hey, Ricard, that's my bottle.
No, it's not.
This is my bottle.
Oh, look, see, this was right here. It'll all come out in the wash. I'm telling you, it'll be great. It's gonna be great. It's great. It's great.
Yeah, I know, Necronom. Aaron was like, "Dee." I was like, "Yeah, man, we really need to go live." He's like, "Okay." Oh, I didn't do anything, and then he stopped the stream.
Necronom, I do everything, and there was one facet.
Hey,
there's one facet of this that I left out, and then now I'm getting hammered.
You know the good parts.
Oh, please, give me a break. I've been up since 6 a.m. working nonstop.
Chat room. For those that don't know it, Aaron's birthday was two amazing days ago. You're what, 61 now?
Uh-huh. That's so good. No, I'm not. 36.
Somehow Aaron's become, wow.
Well, if you're going to lie one way, I'm going to go the other way.
When did you become so sensitive about your age?
Every year. When I'm in a pull of my own vomit after the event has happened. That's how, many years, and I like it. And every year, it gets become a bigger event for everyone. They take great pride.
We had a pretty good crowd for a birthday dinner last night.
That was a good crowd. I was surprised, actually. I was real surprised by that. So,
yeah, I really hate this camera setup.
It's a one-time event. I had to go try this new setup out, so it'll be fine. We look like we're buddies. We could hold hands while we're doing this. It'd be awesome.
Yeah. Econom says you're a very young man. He's just a couple weeks older than you.
Thank you, Nick. He gets it.
It's odd. A lot of stuff I watch online, like streaming stuff.
Yeah.
I'm usually one of, if not the oldest person in the crowd. Yeah. At least that is chatting and active.
Yeah.
And our crowd is pretty much our age.
Yeah. I would say yes.
So, I mean, now I'm the young gun in the room now.
Young gun. It's young blood, but I made it work. Remember that song? No. Bad Company. Nothing. Ever heard of Bad Company?
Yes.
Bad Company.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I can't deny. That's the stage version. Anybody in here have an ORIC? I'm looking for an ORIC.
I think they'd have a better chance for a whale. We're
going to focus on the ORIC 1. But there were actually more than one ORIC.
There were, yes.
And they met not good success. ORIC 1's the big dog. The big one.
I was, I don't want to spoil one of the big surprises, but I was flipping through this.
Oh, yeah, we don't want to spoil that.
And trying out the different systems.
Yeah.
And looking at the different keyboards and layouts. I mean, they were really all over the map. They were completely different from each other.
You got that, especially. Well, we'll get into it. Let's just get this started. We chat about because I do have something to say about the various.
I'd hope so. Otherwise, your segments are going to be boring.
What do you mean? My segments are our segments. It's you're just going to jump right in.
This land is your land. Is that what it is? All of a sudden,
this land was made for you and me.
No,
so start pulling your weight. Good God, I can't pull all of it all the time. Also, they had cool names for these things too, in my opinion.
I hope you're not referring to the Tangerine.
That's the name of the company. That's not the name of the actual gimmick. The actual the computers. So there's a statement I have to laugh about. All right, you ready to rock and roll? What are you looking at?
Yeah, exactly, Steve. That's exactly what I.
I was wondering why you were so bright. Turn off one half those lights. You got one. I only use one set over there. Well, okay, you can just be bright then. It's not my problem.
I can't stop that.
Trust me, you've stopped it. That's better. Because I looked like you were literally like a glow.
Well, you know.
Well, that's weird.
I have an angelic aura.
The angelics, no, I mean like a hellish glow would be my.
I've got one of those too.
All right, you ready to go?
Is it time?
It's 9:03.
Why me?
We're going. Here we go.
Hold on, wait.
Yes, get your stick together so we can get this thing going. It's going to take a second to start up, remember? So, on this computer, I don't remember it taking that long, but we'll give it time. Hello, everyone. Welcome to an horrific edition of ARG Presents. I am Amigo Aaron, joined by a man who is definitely and 100% not from France, the Brent.
Dr. Bleu.
Oh, well, I guess I was mistaken, eh? Because we both thought this computer came from France,
yes,
didn't we?
I was totally convinced it was French.
We did. So, if you joined us last week, you'll know we spun the wheel.
Yes.
We made the exotic deal this week.
This was one we were kind of fearing.
It is, and this has been on the wheel for a while. We were like, sacre bleu. But we took the plunge, and this week we'll be looking at games from the ORIC line of computers.
Yes.
And to be precise, we're going to be looking at games that were made for the ORIC 1, the 1. Now, Brent, aside from the fact that you came up with this pie piece,
correct,
and we put it on the wheel.
You know, did I?
Yeah, this is one of yours.
Okay.
So, had you ever heard of the ORIC or the ORIC 1 or Tangerine or any of the other things that were all rolled into this week's game?
Absolutely not. If this was my pie piece, and I'm not 100% sure this wasn't a suggestion, I'll have to go back through the archives.
Could have been, but I mean, I'm saying you printed it.
But yeah, when I usually try to at least do a cursory glance whenever I look something, make a piece for it. And I saw this at an emulator. I thought it was French. I thought, oh, okay, we have a lot of French fans, or that region of the world. On it goes.
France, Europe, it's all the same to you, isn't it?
Well, no, I'm not saying that, but
well,
across the pond is across the pond. How's that?
I had heard of this particular company and the ORIC 1, but it's a lot like before I knew anything about the Spectrum or the Sam Coupe or whatever. It's like I'd heard of these things, but I really didn't know what exactly it was.
Correct.
So let's dive into the ORIC, and like I said, more specifically the ORIC 1, which we're going to be looking at this week. So This particular machine was developed by an outfit called Tangerine Computer Systems.
Those
not
are
to
good
be
eating.
not to be confused with Apple.
Or Tandy.
Well, Tandy's not a fruit.
Right, but they took Tandy and Apple and kind of meshed them
No,
going.
Tangerine's an actual fruit,
Yes,
you
I'm
idiot.
aware. I'm well aware.
So this is a home computer that was released in the UK and manufactured over there. And this came out September of 1982.
Yes.
Brent.
Yeah.
Now, these ran until 84. It is estimated that, well, you want to take a guess on how many units sold? Now, this is worldwide.
Oh, I can't imagine more than, say, 45,000.
Incorrect, sir. In fact, they sold 50,000 of these in France alone.
Oh, maybe that's why I thought they were French.
Yeah,
Or
210,000 units as of 1983.
That's incredibly impressive.
Yeah, it was not some kind of ultra flop that you may have thought that it had. This came with the ORIC Extended Basic version 1, which was apparently built via Microsoft and included some hilarious bugs that plagued the system a little bit when you were programming for it. The couple that come to mind that I read about was they had, you know, the old if-then statement.
Right.
They were bugged, and so you had to do some sort of print function before you could use the if-then statement when you did your programming.
Oh gosh.
Also, there was something.
That's not a little bug. That's a complete disaster.
There was something going on with the save feature when you tried to load something that you'd saved and it would not work.
Right.
So that would be hideous. That's
Yeah.
far worse of a problem. Now this came in two chunks. You had your 16K version, your 48K.
Yes.
It's funny. The company that designed the Tangerine was basically spun off of a bigger company, and that company had actually been making computers since the late 70s. And they'd mostly made computers for like lab use, but they also had computer kits. If you'll recall, and this is way before your time and pretty much before mine, but back in the day, you could buy computers as assembled units or kits that you would put together.
Yeah, I know of that.
And so they actually had the ORIC, upper types had an actual kit that came out before this. And so what had happened was they decided that it was time. They saw the developing UK 8-bit market. And we've said this before, but they looked at it and they said, we got to get us some of that action. That's sweet action. And so that's when they jumped into gear and released what was actually called the Tangerine Microtan 65 that came just before the ORIC 1. So what is the ORIC 1? Well, it's a computer with a 6502A processor that runs at 1 megahertz. Like I said, it has 16/48K. There actually was going to be a 32K model that got scrapped for whatever reason.
You mean, why would you have all three?
Don't know. The funny thing about these computers, from what I saw, and I read this a couple places and saw it in a video too, these actually had more memory on them than they were rated for. But when you turned it on, I guess the operating system dumped in that memory, and so it took up some. So that.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, like for example, the 48K actually had 64K of memory, and I'm sure the hacker types could go in there and go crazy. Yeah, so I thought that was kind of neat.
That's very odd that they would advertise it as less when most of that era was certainly advertised as more.
Yeah. So let's talk about what market was the ORIC 1 competing against? Well, it honed into view against its main competitor, the ZX Spectrum.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, these things released very close to one another. In fact, the Spectrum had ran into production issues that had forced back its start date. And so a lot of people speculated that the ORIC might jump in there. Well, the ORIC also had trouble. Pushed back too. Also, when the ORIC had been strategically priced to undercut the Spectrum, but it ended up that they couldn't meet that price point.
Wow.
So they ended up, so they really didn't. They actually came in a little bit more expensive. Now, the main event of the ORIC, in my opinion, is its keyboard. Now, far be it for me to badmouth British computers and their keyboards of the day, but this one takes weird and unusable to an exciting new level. You've got we've seen the chiclet keyboard. We've seen the as it's called, the dead flesh keyboard of the ZX Spectrum. This is the oversized calculator button keyboard. Weird. How would you describe it? I mean, it's what it reminds me of. If you took it, doubled the size of a calculator key, and because they're kind of long and thin, like rectangular keys, push buttons, and then you made them in a keyboard, and that's what you've got. The keyboard in this thing, having not touched one, admittedly, it looks goofy, and from all accounts, is hard to type on at any great speed. Is it better or worse than the Spectrum? It's up for debate. It's funny, when I looked on Wiki for this computer, it mentioned the keyboard, and it basically said, in somewhat of an improvement over the ZX Spectrum keyboard, which I thought was amusing, because that's that's up for debate. This computer did pretty well its first year out. It actually was close to the Spectrum, and in some cases, occasionally it would do real well.
Yeah.
This would probably go somewhere between. I would rate this somewhere between the Spectrum and the Dragon in popularity.
I think that's fair.
In terms of games, which is, let's face it, that's why we're here. This system had some additional benefits that the Spectrum didn't have, and one of them is it had a dedicated sound chip.
Yes.
Now, I actually looked through a bunch of games, and I was trying to decide what to play. No, but I mean, it was there. If you think about it, the Spectrum, just recall Manic Miner and its hideous wobble tune of death that would play. These tunes that you had some decent, and I say decent with a wink and a nod. You had some decent music, and you had in-game music, a lot of in-game music that you didn't often get with Spectrum. And so there was something there. Now, this computer also suffered from color clash, just like the Spectrum did. So you would get those little color screw-ups where you'd run across stuff. It's got a lot in common with the Spectrum in terms of the way the games look.
Yes, they're very ZX Spectrum.
I would say I think this could go to a little bit higher res, but I thought they were in the same ballpark.
I thought they were directly comparable.
Yeah, I agree. But this thing had a few deficiencies. Again, some of these that the Spectrum also had. It had no joystick port in it, which the Spectrum didn't have one either. And so you had to get an expansion card for that.
And no one wants to go down that road to play games.
It's funny how much of a back door that the gaming aspect of these things played, and it actually became the forefront of the machine, which is funny. Of
course.
Now, most of the games you're going to load on this thing would be on tape. Apparently, it did have a disc drive, and the emulators I use actually supported disc drive. But I actually had I found your game on. I found Doggy on disc.
Yes.
So I don't know if that's how you ended up playing it.
It is.
The ORIC had enough success to spawn some sequels when it came out, and the first sequel that came out was the ORIC Atmos. The Atmos has a great looking keyboard. It looks like a proper keyboard.
Looks like a real,
The Atmos is a pretty handsome looking machine, if I may say.
With that black and red.
It looks real sharp.
Yeah.
To me. And they clearly learned their lessons. I'm guessing the price was probably substantially higher. I didn't look too much into the Atmos. Around this time, Tangerine ended up, basically that whole unit, they sold their computer division. And they ended up having one more game or system that came out, and I believe it was called the Stratos. The Stratos is another cool name, but I mean, this thing insta-died when it came out because it had basically, they ran out of gas. It's funny, I read a couple places, and I had trouble substantiating this, that one of the things that plagued the ORIC 1 was that their manufacturing facility burned down, or their warehouse.
That will slow down production.
And if you ever watch Nostalgia Nerd, I watched one of his, I saw this a while back. He mentioned that it was that the next week, another facility next door burned down, and there's speculation that the arsonist burned down the ORIC building. It was the wrong building. So, I found that kind of amusing. And he's a pretty sharp character, so that wouldn't surprise me if that's how it went down. So that's some jacked up stuff. So anyway, they released over 300 games for this thing.
Yeah, there
Brett.
were a ton of games in this library.
I was surprised that there were that many. And I will say I looked through a list and watched some videos and played a few. There were some games there. This was not my. This was my first. This was the choice I made, but I had plenty of others that I looked at that looked pretty good. I thought. What did you see? Anything that stuck out to you, including yours, by the way?
I would say a lot of this stuff shares the library with the ZX Spectrum.
They did have they were some similar games. There's no doubt.
But I was very surprised that the library for this thing was so extensive.
Yeah,
I
mean, 300 games is pretty. It's pretty good.
That's really good.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. This just to close up on the system before we move on. Apparently the ORIC and the Atmos and its predecessors they were cloned a lot. When I looked on eBay to see what these are going for, I found wave after wave of weird European clones of this machine. So I thought that was kind of cool. You've got Yugoslavia and Bulgaria and Russia. It's crazy places like clones.
And they all had their own shells and everything, whole new keyboards.
Oh yeah, they didn't look anything like the original.
Nothing.
I thought that was kind of goofy. So, anyways, we decided to pick 2 games out from the semi-vast library. I mean, if you compare the 300 games out for this thing compared to the Spectrum library of like 4.5 trillion games, you'll understand that.
I don't think that's a fair comparison.
This is a minuscule. A library comparison, but I mean it's not bad. Hey, it's got more than the Spectrum. That's than the Vectrix. That's for sure. So we picked out a couple. Brent, I think you said you wanted to lead the charge this week. So what do you have on offer, sir?
I decided to go with Doggy.
Doggy. Now I have to say this one enticed me when I'd already seen this when you picked it.
Doggy. When I was flipping through Spectrum games, Spectrum games. Wow.
Wow. There you
Already
go.
did. When I was flipping through ORIC games, I was looking for something that had a little bit of a history, either some kind of strange game development or unique game concept. And what I found was Doggy, and what makes it so unique is who created it. This was made by a little fella.
A little fella.
I'm going to destroy the last name here. You want to help me out? Eric Chai.
Let's go with Shahai.
All right. I'm just going to call him Eric from here on out.
Wise move. Even the E has a gimmick over it. So.
Yes, it does. So something this guy might have developed later in his career that you would know of. Heart of Darkness. Does that ring a bell?
Oh, yes.
From Dust, maybe?
Well, Heart of Darkness, for sure.
And his huge mega hit, Another World, or as it is known in the States, Out of This World.
So you're telling me, Brent, that this game was made by the same guy that did those classic games? I did not know that.
That is absolutely true. Doggy was one of his first games when he was 17 years old. He did everything for the game except for the music, which was done by a 15-year-old named Remy. I'm not even going to try that last name. But, yeah.
Guzele.
There you go.
Except it's French and not Italian.
Yeah, they made the game together in their apartment. And Remy, like I said, did the music for the game. And every single bit, the graphics, the coding, every single bit of the rest of it was done by Eric. Which, there are tank barriers. Of course, whenever you're running down the path, you've always got to worry about large barrels of TNT.
That was the one, the bear trap really surprised me.
It has water, it has logs that have fallen across the road. And to avoid all these traps, you either move up or down to go around them. But the traps are so numerous, typically you have to jump the obstacles. Oh, another classic in this is every once in a while someone will just have built a wall across the road and you have to jump over it. I don't know who's driving on this road, but they've had a bad day. And like I mentioned on the box art, there's wolves. And the wolves don't just... come on the screen. They actually run at you, usually in packs. There's usually 4 or 5 wolves in a row that you have to keep jumping. If you try to dodge them up or down, they kind of follow your path, so jumping is the best way around them.
I didn't know they were wolves. It looked like cats. I was like, why are we jumping? Why are we avoiding these things?
No, those are red wolves.
That makes sense, yeah.
Of course, not all is bad in Doggy Land, because apparently the only other vehicle that's traveled down this road was carrying doggy treats and has spilled them all across the roadway.
Yes.
So as Doggy runs, he loses energy over time automatically. And if he eats a doggy treat in the shape of a little dog bone, he will get some of that energy back to continue his trek home. Doggy is a simple game. It's a simple game with a simple concept. It's something anyone can pick up and play and I guess enjoy. The music for it is very repetitive, but it's good.
It's an odd choice. Because most of the time, in fact, the entire time you're playing the game, it plays in the mood. Da 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 da. I thought of all the dog-based songs, they picked in the mood. So I'm guessing someone just programmed in the mood, and they're just like, put this in.
I'm going to assume that is probably what the 15-year-old that did it had in mind. Yeah. I wasn't a huge fan of this game. But something it has that I believe is absolutely fantastic, and I think this is what Eric took with him to his later games. Mm-hmm. The animation for your dog is fluid and beautiful.
And fun. It's fun.
It is. The running animation is very, very dog-like. It is not stiff. It's got the floppy ears. It has the gallop that a dog would have that is perfectly animated. When he jumps, he definitely kind of Superman soars, which I believe is due to gameplay.
He's got a long gait. He really could jump high, yeah.
But it is absolutely beautiful. And something that Another World had, the graphics were simple in it, but all of it was very fluid and very well animated.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that is something he got from learning how to do this kind of thing way back in the ORIC days in Doggy. So what did you think of the game?
Well, the game starts off, the intro screen is Doggy being written in cursive, which I thought was a nice touch.
Yeah.
You mentioned that. This game instantly reminded me visually of Smurf for the ColecoVision. It's got that kind of tree background, and you're running along a path. Now, it doesn't play like Smurf. Smurf's a lot slower than this. This game, it's not what I would call super difficult. I got pretty far into it.
Did you ever complete a lap? The lap to get home, the trek is long. It's about 10 minutes of gameplay.
It's a long ride. I got to the truck. I don't know if you got that far.
The truck that throws, yeah.
I think it looks like it's throwing tennis balls. What are those? You have any idea on that? So, Brent's right. The premise of this is goofy, but just about because this dog apparently this is taking place during a war or something. Because this dog, why you would have so many bear traps strewn across the road? There must be a lot of bears in France that are coming out of the woods. The dog looks great. The music it gets a little old. It's not, but I mean, it sounds pretty good. It's okay,
I mean, the actual tune itself is well done. It's just that it's on repeat ad nauseum. And when your levels are, and there's only one level. When you beat the level, you just repeat the level for high score. And
your doggy gets to go home. Did you see the end screen?
Yeah, I watched it. I never got there.
It's a big dog house. I mean, it's not like glorious, but you do at least has an ending. It doesn't show going into the house.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't be cool. But the dog, like I said, I didn't have any trouble with the controls. I thought it was amusing that you used left for left in this game and right is down because that's because of the way the ORIC keyboard was.
That's correct. The ORIC split up its cursor keys in the most asinine way. It's
peculiar, but I mean, it took me a while. It's funny, both these games, I was like, the controls on this are wacky.
Yeah, I instantly reprogrammed all the controls.
Oh wait, I take that back. My game was the one that was down. Yours was the O. Yours was the Q. I think yours was the O and the P, and the jump was the shift. That's what it was.
AZ shift.
That's what it was. Both these games and plenty of other games I tried. You're on your own trying to figure these controls out.
No, that's not true.
But luckily, my game actually tells you the controls.
Right.
So there's that. You got that going for you.
But with Doggy, I think the game. Well, you never did. What was your overall impression? What was your overall? Yes,
like I said,
good,
I
no,
liked
bad.
it. I give it the thumbs up. I knew when I saw a preview of this scroll by when I was picking games, this was on my short list of games to pick because it's light, it's fun, it's straightforward. I could understand what was happening instantly.
Those are all very true.
And it had a nice feel to it. Is it a game I would play over and over? It doesn't have the
longevity.
No, it doesn't have the variance that say Smurf does on the Coleco, where you actually there are different boards you go to that have different elements that you would go through, like the caves and the outdoor stuff.
But of course,
and then Gargamel's Castle. And this is one long continual. This is sort of like reminds me of the level in the Three Stooges when you're the boxing level, which is a long race. It's not that hard. Where you have to run Larry across the screen to get the radio. Remember that? It's attractive though. I mean, for what it is, I thought it was. I thought it looked good. I mean, it looked like a dog ran through the park looks beautiful. It's just that the dog's in the park of doom.
Well, here's my biggest problem with Doggy, and I think it is because it was created by a 15 and 17-year-old at the time. Because obviously, this man went on to make one of the most classic games of all time.
Yeah.
It's so nonsensical in the traps that you come across that it's a little off-putting to me.
It's totally nonsensical. There's no doubt about that.
I think that if the time was spent to come across more traps or more obstacles that made sense for what you were doing for a dog running through the park, and I think that would have been easy enough to do. You could have had people riding bicycles. You could have had, park benches that you'd have to avoid, stuff like that. But the traps in this, the obstacles in it, were so nonsensical that I kind of got bored playing it because I didn't get drawn into the game at all.
It's when there's a lot of obstacles.
There are tons.
But they appear a lot.
Yes.
And I will say there's the energy bar. They give you a substantial amount of energy, a ton, and there's a bar at the bottom that lets you keep track of
how far you are from
how
home.
Close you are.
Yeah.
It's funny having. We just looked over on the our Sinclair show at Grand National, which is a horse race wrought with doom, and this is like the dog equivalent. Basically, this is the grand. It's a long track. Fraught with disaster.
It is. It is.
Same way. I wish Grand National would give you this energy bar. So I think it's different.
No price to be found on this, and I looked a lot. This is, of course, looking for anything for the ORIC means you're not going to find a lot of hits. But then looking for one particular game from the ORIC, even from a very classic designer, came up with nothing.
I think it was. I enjoyed it, so I'm going to give it a good thumbs up. Now, one of our fine contributors, Graham W. Vepke, had to go with this thing, and he writes an arcade/rhythm puzzle type game where you control a dog that runs and jumps over obstacles, and you need to keep the energy bar levels up by collecting bones. I thought the game controlled okay, but the sprite detection wasn't the best and made this difficult.
That's true.
At least when you replayed it, everything was in the same position, so practice could get you further through the game. And this game also suffers from color clash, especially over certain obstacles. 6 out of 10. One thing that this game is, speaking on what Graham wrote, is that your dog moves up and down the road. There's, I guess, depth, and you move up there, and so sometimes it makes it difficult to judge on where on the road you need to land, where you need to jump. I had some trouble in that. That was a problem I had, and you can lose energy pretty quick depending on how much crap's in the road. Now your dog's hang time's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But he's going to land somewhere, and then when he lands, you got to make sure he's not landing on a bunch of nasty stuff. But there's one point, if you get far enough, listen to me. If you get far enough into the game, there's a pickup truck. The music stops, and you hear a rumble of an engine, and this pickup truck comes into view. and dumps just fills the road with these like greenish yellow balls, but I thought were tennis balls. I don't know what they are, and I was hoping you could tell me.
I've got nothing for it.
But you can't land on them. So, and at this point, you're going to hit these things. You just got to hit as few as you can because they're everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, and so that was pretty deadly. That area, and the funny thing is that's the only time that happens. He stays on the screen for a couple minutes and he just drives off, and then you just finish up like you normally would.
You go back to the other obstacles.
I thought that was kind of bizarre, truth be told. But you know, overall, I liked it. I thought it was a pretty fun game, Brent.
I thought it was okay. I think the animation for the dog was great. Everything else was just average at best.
Animation for the cursive opening was pretty impressive too.
I suppose.
So, I'll take the reins from here, Brentster. I looked over the vast array of software, and I came up with a little game they call Zorgon's Revenge.
Yes.
Zorgon, not a man to be, or whatever he is. I'm not going to call him a man. A little weird guy, not to be trifled with. So, this was a game published by IJK Software and programmed by John Sinclair. This came out in 1983 and released in the UK at a price point, sort of an expensive price point of £8.50.
Yes, this game was far, far more famous than Doggy.
Well, I mean, I thought they were. I thought it was, you know, pretty. I thought they were pretty. Doggy had some depth.
I saw this on a ton of top 10 ORIC lists.
Well, as a reason for that. So, what is Zorgon's Revenge? It's simple. This was a sequel to a game called Xenon 1. Now, Xenon 1 was another game that was on my short list. It looked pretty good. I don't know if you saw it.
I did not see that one.
So, in the first game, after you defeated the Zorgon's not happy. And so, they have kidnapped Roz, the Xenon princess. I love the name Roz, by the way. This is a rockin' princess from the 80s. She's been held up in a castle, and you've got to go get her. So, this is the reason I picked this game because, as you know, I love me some Jumpman, I love me some Donkey Kong, and I love me some Manic Miner. I love jumping and wacky danger games, and so I had to get me some of this. And so when I saw that this had multiple levels and a crazy jumping around and general insanity, I had to go get me some of this. So once you start the game, and you can set your difficulty level, which I appreciated, and I of course set mine at the rock basic bottom level that you could possibly set it. It gives you a list of the controls, which helps. That helped a lot. And then you start the game. Now you start the game by picking which level you want to start at. All the levels are hidden, so it's random, but you still get to pick, and it comes into play later. It's a lot like, say, Tron.
Yes.
You know, where you pick one level, and then if you fail, you can either go to another mystery level or go back to the one that at least you know, the devil you know, right? You've got 4 basic missions here, and then you've got the secondary missions, which I'll get to. So the 4, and I should mention that when the screen that comes up for your missions is just 4 big squares. It's not that attractive. It's got numbers in them. You just hit the number of the one you want to go to. So you've got the spider level, okay? So this one, this game has a theme of birds dropping glowing death on you.
Yes.
I don't know if it's poo. I don't know if it's like they're dropping, they can shoot. I don't know what it is. But this is a game where you have to run through the bottom part of the level, which is avoid a bird, grab like a chain that's hanging down, and it goes across the pit. Then there's a spider. You've got to avoid him. There's an elevator that goes up the side. You got to jump on that, go all the way to the next level, and when you get to the top, there's it looks like
it's a monster,
an effeminate dinosaur under a spotlight.
It's a
basically,
monster
that comes at you. You've got to avoid him. Then you've got to go back down and go and get what initially is a bridge piece. This is what you're after in these levels. So basically, and sort of in the same vein as Manic Miner, and this game is sort of reminding me of Manic Miner in a more graphically impressive way, but probably not as much, certainly not as much levels. So once you get the bridge piece, then you go to the screen where you run across a bunch of birds dropping bombs, and to get to a point where you can place that bridge piece in the gap across the moat to get to your woman. So that's the first bridge piece. that screen comes up after you complete all the other 4 screens.
Yes.
Okay. So then you've got a mission where you are the bird level, where you have to go out. This is a different type of bird. It's a good bird. It's raining death.
Yeah.
Hallelujah. And you've got to avoid all the raindrops of doom. Run across under them. And there's a bird that flies across the level. You've got to jump, and he'll grab you and take you to the second level.
Yes.
Then a magical bridge will appear. You've got to run across that to get a rain of death. Then the bird will come back, and you got to jump on him again and fly to the top. And this time you have to jump off the ledge.
You got to leap of faith to the bird.
I found this infinitely irritating.
It was
because
tough.
I only hit it a few times. Because if you miss the bird, you just fall to your death.
Yeah.
This guy can't fall at all.
Well, I mean, you're falling like 3 times the height of the person.
Well, I'm just saying he dies. Then, so I thought that was a weird one. Then you've got, and I had to look this up to see what it was called. You've got what's called the Quagnog mission. It's a level where there's this giant 4-armed guy, right? He looked like a Goro or something, right?
Okay.
And he shoots laser beams at you. And so what you got to do is you have to jump the lower beam, and if you hit the higher beam, it bounces back and hits him.
When it's white.
When it's white, it kills him. And then you have to run up a ladder, and you basically do it twice. You have to do it twice, get your piece. Then again, after all these, you have to go to that level where you have to put them back in the thing. The last level, and again, these are in no order, is the most bizarre level to me. And I had a problem where I couldn't beat this level. My emulator wouldn't let me get past this level. But I did try. My control stopped working at this level. I don't know why. It was the space level, and this is a level that's a shoot 'em up, and it looks like probably the easiest level to me. That's what really irritated me. It's a shooter level, a shoot 'em up level, where you are shmup, if you will, where you are in like looks like some kind of like highfalutin rocket car, and you're basically going around the screen and shooting lasers, Defender style. And I will say they were dead on Defender lasers.
They were.
And you shoot a bunch of guys, and eventually, if you shoot enough of them, they will drop the piece you need, and then you go on to that level where you place all the pieces.
Pick it up, yep.
So once you place all the pieces of this bridge, it's time for the main showdown with the king of the Zorgon Empire, I guess.
King Longarm.
Now, the king is first of all, the king, you see him occasionally. He looks sad.
Yeah.
He's sort of it's like Evil Otto with huge weird arms. Is what he reminded me of. If you ever played Berserk, and he's got a crown, of course, because he's befitting a king. And he's got your woman up there who also has her crown, and she's screaming a la Pauline from Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
She's like, help, help. And so now this last level, did you actually get to this level?
No.
I didn't either. Well, I couldn't get there, but so I had to go back and watch it get played. The last level of this game finds you underneath a girdered structure where the king and your woman are on top, and then underneath them is sort of a breakout style set of blocks. Okay, and then underneath that are 2 ground-mounted turrets.
Gun turrets,
right?
yeah.
So what you've got to do. And on either side of the board are 2 hanging lights. Now in this game, hanging lights are sort of like the
activators
that activate stuff. You've got to run across the bottom level, jump up and hit the light, and it'll shoot the gun. It'll take some of the bricks out. Then you got to run back across, shoot the gun, grab the light, shoot the gun. It'll take out more bricks. But it's not that easy because as you run across, there are hurdles, things that come up out from the floor.
Stinging ants.
Yeah.
I think they're supposed to be scorpions, but they look like stinging ants.
I'm going to go with ants, too. I thought they looked like ants. And you have to jump them. Now, you just jump these. It's the same pattern over and over. I didn't see any variance in it, You go back and forth across, getting these lights. And as you do that, it will wear down the
platform.
The platform. And eventually, there'll be a hole in it.
King falls.
The king falls. He's done.
A la Donkey Kong.
Yeah, and then you rescue your queen. And then it plays a super jacked up, speedy version of the marriage theme.
Yes.
As it shows your guy in a little heart, and then you've beaten that level. I like the fact that this game has multiple levels. I mean, you're talking. you're talking 4 or 5. You're talking 6 levels if you count the placement.
The bridge, probably.
Yeah, and so that's a goodly amount of levels.
It is.
And I found everything I could play was fun. I was disappointed that I couldn't figure out how to play the defender style level, but I watched it play. That's by far the simplest level. There's not a whole lot to it.
Yeah.
The rest of the levels are much tougher. Now, this game is not easy. It's a difficult game, and it punishes ignorance. I mean, it's like I said, much like Manic Miner. The first 20 times you play it, you're going to get killed, and sometimes you'll come on the screen and just insta die. I had that happen. I mean, it's because it's tough. Like, you can come out and the bird drops a thing and you just run into it. You're dead. 2 seconds.
There is a one of the levels that if you hold right as soon as you enter, you will die.
Yeah.
You just have to stand still.
Yeah. So, what did you think of it? What were your first impressions and your overall thoughts on it?
My first run through this. First of all, something that's needs to be said about this game. If you were trying to emulate it at home, if you load it up and everything seems to be working fine until you actually start the game and then you can't do anything, the reason for that is you have downloaded the demo version. Okay.
Which this happened to me. I had to re-download it. Yes.
I believe that it's mainly the disc version, although I think there is also a tape version of the demo. The demo version was meant to set in store shelves or in a store on repeat.
Yeah.
Where you could play the beginning of it. You could move the sliders for your sound and difficulty up and down. It looks like all the controls are working and everything. But as soon as you start the game and pick your level, it will allow you to do that. Then the controls are turned off. You have the demo version of the game. Go get a different version. This was released in 83 and 84, if I recall. The 84 version is what you want to go and look for. Because it is the non-demo, fully functional, refined version.
Yeah, and I just as you said, I did in fact have to do. The first time I got this, I couldn't do anything.
Yes,
that's what it was.
It took me a long time. I was very, very annoyed.
Yeah.
So I came into this game angry because of all the problems to get it going.
Yeah.
However, I appreciate the difficulty of this game, because it is a fair difficulty. I played one level. I played where you jump on the bird and ride it to the next level. I played that level ad nauseum. It was the level I always looked for to play the game whenever I played it. Because, I mean, I played it all and I experienced everything, but I wanted to get good at one of these levels. And so I played that one over and over and over again to the point where I could beat it pretty much every time. Which tells me that this game has difficulty, yes, because it is very infamous for its difficulty.
And we were playing on the low. I'm sure you're like me. You went to the lowest level.
I did,
yeah.
And I'm going to talk about that here in a second too. However, if you play the game to get good at the game, you can get good at the game, which for this era of gaming, I think is pretty unique. So I really appreciate that. What I don't appreciate, however, is if you slide the difficulty meter up all the way or most of the way, the level where you have to run away from the monster at the top, you can't run away. You can get to the point where you cannot beat the game because that monster is so fast.
Well, there's got to be a trick, surely.
No, it's just... Because when you raise the difficulty, what you're actually doing is speeding up the game.
Yeah, increasing the speed. I saw that.
And there is a difficulty level point where you can't get away from that monster, then you can't complete the game. That's bad. Bad programming. But the rest of this game, I think it's hard but fair. I think the graphics are incredibly good considering the platform it's on.
Yeah.
I think the controls were pretty solid.
Yeah.
The hit detection was mostly good. When you jump off the chain over the pit in the level that also has the monster in it, you can land on the edge and it still kill you. you have to really wait for that chain to go all the way to the right-hand side of the screen to jump off and make the pit every time.
Yeah, that happened to me quite a few
But
times.
I think overall, solid game. I think this crushes Doggy. While Doggy had charm and some really incredible animations, the animations on this game are pretty simple. The sound effects are pretty simple. The game itself, though, you can play it multiple times. I played this once I got to Oregon. I played it a ton.
Yeah.
Unlike Doggy, which you play it a few times and you've seen everything and you're done with it.
Yeah.
This, you could really play it and learn it, and I really appreciate that in a game.
Yeah. I should mention that the fellow that did this, John S. Sinclair, a little bio on him. He was responsible for the original Xenon 1, obviously, since it's same basic bear. He was 16 in '82, and this came out in '82, so 17 years old. When he did this game.
How incredible! Both our developers were 17.
Yeah. So he hooked up with his dad and his uncle to form IJK. His dad Keith, his uncle Ian, and so that's where you get the IJK, the first letter of each of their names.
Right.
They did several games, and they did a game that's considered by a lot of people the best game on the system, which is called Rocket Ball. And if there's a little blurb at the end of this, it says, as of 2018, Mr. Sinclair lives in China, and he's involved in development over there of electronic stuff. IJK did do a lot of stuff. I looked over their list here. I'm not going to go through all these because I've never heard of them. They did about 10 games on the system, which is, if you think about it, that's on a system that has 300 games. That's a pretty good chunk right there. But I agree with everything you said. I think this is clearly a more complex outing than Doggy.
Yes.
And this is definitely more of an arcade outing. I would like to actually play this on the arcade machine. I think I'd probably play a little bit better with the arcade controls. Apparently, this also was one of the games that supported a joystick if you had the ability to hook one up with the expansion card. I looked up some. Believe it or not, I found some reviews of this. And on ORIC.org, the users have spoken. They've given this a 4.35 out of 5. And Tilt Magazine out of France gave this a 67, which I don't know exactly what their scale is. So I'm assuming that's
out of 100.
Yeah,
I think that's harsh.
Yeah, if that's what it is, it's hard to say. Our own resident reviewer, Graham W. Vebke, also had a look at this one. Graham writes, they weren't kidding when saying prepare to meet thy doom, which is a little saying it says you pick a level. This is essentially a game with many game challenges to be completed, all with the goal of rescuing a princess. It only has a 3-key controlled game, but this is a freaking difficult game even on easy. I did find this game a bit amusing with the cheap deaths, but the controls are frustrating, especially flying the spaceship. Very colorful, and the sound effects were loud. But if this controlled better, it could have been a big hit, 6 out of 10. So I gotta agree with Graham on some of that. But I thought it controlled okay. I just thought it was difficult. There's no doubt. I should mention, by the way, that I did look up the price of both my game and the ORIC as a whole before we move along.
Did you actually find this game?
Well, there were none currently on eBay, but there had been one sold recently in France, and it sold for under $6. So a pretty reasonable tape there. Now, you can get an ORIC 1. The prices varied. I saw boxed ones going for $500. I saw, does it work? Going for $100, and everything in between. And plus, you've got to take into consideration the vast amount of clones for this system, which there were way more clones than there were original systems on this. So if you're willing to go down that road, and good luck to you. I mean, the only commands I know in the ORIC are C-load, space, apostrophe, quote. That was it, because that's all that would load the game. That's all I need to know. So your mileage, but it doesn't seem like it's a super difficult system. Clearly, it supports multiple languages. So if you think you want to give the ORIC a shot, I think you could do worse. It's probably with 300 games. Think about a system with 300 games. If you're getting it for the games, you've got something that you can collect a good chunk of library.
You can probably get them all
cheap.
Although,
if you can
I think finding legitimate copies of all those games would be almost impossible.
You may be onto something. I'll tell you something that often is illegitimate. It's the wheel. Let's spin
I don't
this
even
sucker.
know what that means.
Well, you don't have to know, buddy. You don't even have to know. So, Brent, tell them what we added this week to the Wheel of Fun.
This is what I've been waiting for with bated breath.
Is it really?
Yes, it is.
Because I thought it was the only thing we had left and you just put it on there.
Oh, it might have been that too. It's the Thompson M05.
All right, spin that sucker.
You know what? I want it. I want it. I want it to come up real bad.
All right, man.
Oh, it could be.
Is that it?
It might be. It is.
Oh.
It's the Thompson M05.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Brent.
Yes.
I know nothing. I'd heard of the ORIC. I don't know anything about this system.
This is French. Absolutely.
Are you sure?
For sure.
I've heard that
time.
before.
French computer. We're doing it.
So, do you know anything about this?
Nope.
But we do know it's emulatable, and
We think.
Well, we're sure that it's emulatable. You've looked up the emulator, so right? Oh, but you better have. I'll kill you. So, do you want to say hi to anyone in the chat room while we're here?
We had a few people show up. Duncan Styles coming in right at the wire. Terror K. Picard, Necronom made an appearance. Ravi stopped by. We also had Steve made an appearance, of course, and Edvin.
Of course. We attempt to record every week, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here in the U.S. of A. on Sunday, and do our best if the internet will hold up. I don't know how well it did today. I think it did okay.
I think it had one crashy, but otherwise it was okay.
We also, of course, this show is released both as a YouTube show and a podcast. So if you think you might want to hear the show, please use your usual outlets to get this thing on your pod listener, and you can check that out.
And if you want to see the fancy version that comes out on Wednesday, be sure to hit that up too.
Yeah.
Watch it again for all the fancy graphics that Aaron adds, and you get to actually see some gameplay in the background and whatnot.
Yeah, we try.
Certainly worth it.
We try to produce something halfway decent. So I guess next week then it'll be Thompson time.
It will be.
We'll be the Thompson twins, won't we?
No.
Fun. So join us next week. And until then, au revoir. What was that?
That was Doggy.
That's
Doggy, man. He was wanting to get home.
You're stupid.
By the way.
So stupid.
Look.
You did that the entire time.
Yeah, we can't have the camera on.
No, you can't. You can't handle it. I was watching you do that the whole time. Shaky McGee.
I had to.
Did you not? You noticed at the end of the show, the thing?
No, I noticed.
Brett, you're very emotive. It's not your
am.
fault. You're a passionate man. I don't think we'll be okay on that.
Well, we just have to put it. We have to get it off the table.
No, we have to get you off the table. That's the key.
Well,
because you're like Donkey Kong. Nothing's coming out of the ground when you smack it like that.
Where's the barrel? I want to throw it at you.
Yeah, please, like you can lift it.
So let's talk for a moment. All
right, what do you got?
When we have things that need to be done.
All right.
Well done.
Thank you.
And we need to do them.
Like you reach into the void. It's like a portable hole.
No,
right?
no. That also has to get fixed.
We need 2 portable holes.
No. You're plenty of hole enough for both of us. We need.
What's on that?
We need to have a quick discussion here on when we are going to do the things that need to be done.
I'm off tomorrow. Let's do it.
Okay.
There you go. That was easy.
Do you have the stuff?
What stuff do you need?
The magnets?
I've got some magnets. I've got some magnets.
Did you
enough to hang these things.
Did you look up the link that I sent?
I did look that up. Yes.
What'd you think?
I've had some of those.
No, you
I've
don't.
ordered some just like that.
No. See, you told me, Brent, I need you to go find the strongest magnets you can.
I've got some magnets of that strength.
No, you probably don't. Because magnets are incredibly complicated. Unless you have, actually, I believe they were M52 magnets. I believe you have M45 magnets.
I don't have the package anymore, and it's not written on the magnet. I don't think those magnets are. Well, let me tell you something. Those magnets are plenty strong. So if
you feel confident in your magnets,
I do.
Right.
And I've got plenty of them that because some of the stuff's going to be obviously. There's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be coming down.
Now, when we hang these and possibly might fall to our untimely deaths, are we going to stream that construction?
I hadn't that occurred to me. I guess we could. I mean, I'm not gonna schedule anything, but if it happens, we'll just go.
All right. So if you want to see us fall and die, Aaron, because I don't get on ladders.
Wait, what?
Well, you want to say 8 a.m. tomorrow?
I know that's too early.
All right, 8:30.
What is with you and early? Can I get some rest? No. I've been working like a freaking dog.
There's no rest for the wicked, and you are as wicked as they come.
That's the two of us. I'm far less wicked.
I don't get any rest either.
Well, I'm just saying. Don't give me that.
You think the time of day affects the stability?
No,
not around here, Duncan. We actually have a tremendous amount of bandwidth for a podunk part of West Virginia. Ours is just bad infrastructure.
Look, what's happening?
No, we're coming right for us.
We're so easily amused. In all honesty, it's the up, not the down.
And no, we have tons of up too.
No, but I'm saying that's what's going bad.
Yes,
that's the problem that they're having around here. It was both. It was just straight up not work, and now it's we've got a bigger fish to fry. It's the only. Now we thought we had it late. Now I saw it tank once today.
It did. It tanked
and that's
once.
Not too bad considering what we've went through in the past. But we know it's not the computer. We know it's not our internet cabling. We know it's not the router. It's none of those things. It's absolutely the service. And so we can. I was thinking we could either just stop going live, which would suck.
No, we're not gonna do that.
Or until I forget it fixed, or we could just have to grin and bear it, which is what we've been doing. There's not much else we can do.
They're not yet. Hard drives out of.
I'm not smart.
Magnets out of hard drives are incredibly brutally strong. Unfortunately, I think we're going to need like 24 magnets.
Should we show them what we're going to hang? I'm going to go get one.
No. Well, okay.
No, it's just a little sneak peek.
All right.
Because you should be proud of your art.
Well, you know what? If I did this now, it would be so much better. Well, I've learned so much.
Good, because I've got a ton of posters I want you to print for me. Stay right there. You don't need to get up. Keep entertaining the folks.
Now, see, this scene is so much better. Me relaxing, you not in the scene.
That scene sucks. No one wants that. Just get this one.
Careful. What are you doing?
I'm going to bring the cigarettes out.
Yeah, you probably want to get it out first.
Well, people want to see. Look.
Ah!
Burn. There we go. There's two of them in here.
Oh, that's the worst one.
Why are there two in here, by the way?
They probably got printed at the same time. I got the bottom.
I'll put it back behind you so it's. There's a monster. We're gonna put these up in the rafters. We're gonna have a bunch of cool stuff, just like we intended.
You want to see if we can get the one behind it?
It's gonna look great. I mean, it turned out great.
Yeah, I think it will. I think it will look good. You've got it?
Yeah, I got it. You can let it go. And let me move out of the way here. I got it.
No, that is, we have 4 pseudo-famous mythical beasts that run in our area. By far our most famous is Mothman, but we have...
Green Monster, Braxton County Monster.
Yeah, Braxton County Monster, no, it's not Bigfoot, it's, oh gosh, what is the sheep guy's name?
Then there's also the guy that up in
But yeah, the
That's the Grafton Monster.
yeah, that was the Grafton Monster, right? The first one, the big rock-looking guy is the Grafton Monster. The guy behind the second one we showed off was the sheep. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I can't remember this thing's name. I'm gonna look it up. Sheep Squatch. He is actually Sheep Squatch is our local boy, who has technically been seen, 15 miles from where we live. Monster folklore is good fun. So, and then like I said, we in Point Pleasant, which is about an hour and a half from where we live, we've got the Mothman. So those are going to be hung, I suppose, tomorrow in our rafters, and we will we'll film getting those up there. I think it'll be fun to watch, and that way, if Aaron falls and gets hurt, somebody can call an ambulance for him.
Well, I mean, we're gonna let you pick where you put which one, so that'll be more fun.
Well, you know what they say: put your best foot forward.
Yeah,
we'll put Mothman
right,
and
those are also the two best ones you printed, I think. They're really nice. So yeah, okay.
Well, I like Sheep Squatch. She's got a great background.
All right, I'm back. Sorry. Now it's time to go.
Okay, so we are going to try to do that tomorrow.
Yeah,
and
let's do it.
You've got 24 magnets.
24 magnets to go. No.
Do you want? Are we going to just?
I'll come up with a magnet.
Are we just going to do surface, poster, magnet, or are we going to put magnet, and then put the
surface poster magnet. They won't be. And I don't. Unless the only thing that worries me is the. But I tested the magnets up on that stuff and it worked, so there shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, there's always a double up. I think. What do you think? How many magnets do you think on each one?
6.
6. Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. Now, how many panels do you have total?
I mean, what?
Panels?
4.
4. So just these 4 right here we're gonna do. Yeah. That sounds good.
Well, that was the original idea.
It's gonna look awesome.
I think it'll look neat.
Then you can start your token idea. So that'll be fun too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get that going.
Yeah.
And I already have the well, we have to talk a little bit about that off stream, but I would like to put that on the door. It probably replace that atrocious Donkey Kong
Listen,
poster.
it's not my fault they added too many levels of Donkey Kong. It's a good poster.
It's not a good.
It looks
poster.
good. I like Donkey Kong.
Well, maybe I'll just get you a better.
We're gonna redo all the art in here anyway, make it look better. So that's something. Because clearly the stuff I had is not working with the way it's peeling off. So, well, you ready to take this thing to the house?
There's a place nearby called Sheep's Wash, but we don't have a sheep squash. Yeah, oddly enough, Sheep Squatch, like I said, is our local monster, is fairly new. Most of the regional monsters around here are from, the 60s, Aaron?
Mothman, yes. I think Braxton was in the 50s, I think, actually.
Yeah, and Sheep Squatch is from the 90s. So he's our recent homeboy, so we had to give him some poster love.
I should mention, while we're talking about it, that the Mothman Festival is only 3 weeks away.
Wow.
It's funny. Next week is we should also mention, I've been told both of us this, next Saturday, which is a week from yesterday as we record this, is our... is the next Taze Valley Classic Computer Club meeting. The last one was very popular on the channel. And this one, Boat's going all out. This is going to be a much bigger deal. Plus, this is going to be actually me, at least for me, I can't speak for everybody, I'm going to actually be doing some computer stuff there.
Wait, you're doing computer stuff at the computer club?
I'm actually going to, I'm bringing my PC in to have my, I'm going to install DOS and install the OS on a card. I've got an IDE to SD card adapter, and so I'm going to stick that in the machine so I can have all my game stuff on this big old SD card. It's going to be in there. It's going to be awesome. And I'm also going to be doing a mod. What was the other mod I was going to do? I've got something else I've got to take care of while I'm there. So I've got 2 mods to do. And I think, of course, John from Charleston always brings actual computer stuff to this thing. But Boat's going to have a full layout of cameras. He's going to have a dedicated camera just to the arcade machine. It's going to be a much more elaborate, fun thing.
And I'll be at this one.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And then the week after that is my son's birthday, so that'll be nice. We're going to go down to Fun City. By the way, Fun City is the local arcade. On the 20th, they're unveiling their new retro section, which will be upstairs. It's going to be all retro games, all old computers and old arcade
where is
games.
Fun City?
Huntington Mall.
Okay.
And then anyway, on the 20th,
I don't know about
on
that
the
name.
20th and 21st, that is the Mothman Festival in Point Pleasant. And this year, since I'm not going to be actively boothing, I'll get to go out and run around and take some really. In fact, I may, if I can get a good signal, I'm going to try to stream some stuff from down there.
That'd be fun.
Live to the people. Again, at Point Pleasant, I think they've got pretty good strength in the city of Point Pleasant. So I should be able to stream okay. But I'm going to go literally, I'm just going to I'm going to clean my phone off. I'm going to walk around and just shoot some stuff and stream it and let people try to get the authentic vibe of it. I think it's going to be a big year. The guest I'm looking forward to meeting this year is the Carpetbagger. If you watch YouTube, Jacob the Carpetbagger is a guy who just goes all over the nation and goes to all these crazy roadside attractions and amusement parks and wax museums and Ripley's Believe It or Not. That's all he does. I met him last year. I was on one of his shows. He was at Mothman. He came up to my booth, and I looked up, and I was like, and then I said, Carpetbagger, and he stopped the tape. But you actually, there's about 5 seconds of me on his show from last year in the actual video, selling one of Larry's pictures. So I'm looking forward to that, a real big time. Unfortunately, because of the Classic Computer Club next week, I'll be missing the Braxton County Monster Show, which is taking place in Braxton County. This is the green monster, Braxton County Monster, the real weird alien from the 50s. I know one of the speakers there. He's doing a Bigfoot presentation, and I think Tree's going up to it. But that's going to be an event. So if you're in West Virginia in the month of September, this is the month that you need to go all these stuff. By the way, a little sidebar, the Braxton County Monster Attractions, the same guy running it is the same guy that runs CharCon, the founder of CharCon. He works at the Braxton County Monster Museum down there. It's a tremendous little museum. It's not as elaborate as the Mothman Museum, but it's still pretty nice. Some nice things. They've got some cool stuff to sell down there. So if you're ever down that way, but that should be fun too, because it's going to be a combination Braxton County Monster show and board game show. So it's a double. So if you're into your board games,
there you go.
You could drive. It's at the motel down there, the big hotel they got down there. So that should be fun. So it's going to be a lot of fun stuff going on. I wish I could get to that, but I can't do both in the same day. So we get that. They're also, I think next weekend or 2 weekends, no, 3 weekends, same weekend as Mothman's also Scare Fest in Lexington. This year, Bruce Campbell's going to be there.
Oh, big name.
Which is cool. Tawny Katane's going to be there. I recognized her. There was someone else that was going to be there that was really nutty that I was like, man, Jockster's going to be there. Ramey.
Really?
Yeah, Ted Ramey's going to be there.
Wow.
And he was the guy, I was like, of all the people there, that's the guy I'd like to meet the most, because I'm a big fan of his, and I loved him in Xena, of course, and he's in his various movie appearances always amused me. You know, he's underrated because he's Sam Raimi's brother, but he's very amusing. I always thought he was good. I love Jockster in the old Xena show. I thought he was a pretty funny guy. So there's a lot of paranormal stuff that's going to be popping for the next 2 months.
It's true. I mean, really, in our area, and we are in the whole of the United States, but we have a lot of conventions, especially in the fall.
The whole? It's not that bad.
Well, I mean, come on.
It's not the whole.
For entertainment purposes.
Actually, we have a lot of great festivals and stuff.
We do. We have a few great festivals. And it's hard to attend them all because, like I said, the September, October area, they all just come at one time. It's a huge pile on.
Yeah, you can't do them all.
You can't.
You can't. And there's the Little Green Men convention that takes place in Kentucky. Now, it's on the western side of Kentucky. I'd love to go to that. It always looks like a lot of fun. That's another event based on an encounter. A very famous encounter where this farm was infiltrated by space aliens, and they were all over the place. And the farmers fought back, hillbilly style, with guns. You know, that's a real famous event. You know, it's true. You ever heard of that one?
Well, it's...
No, that's a... Listen, they've got a convention. That means it's real. That's the way I look at it.
Hey, don't, never mind. ARG's going to have a convention.
That's right.
Or does that mean we're real?
Well, your mileage may vary. All right. It's time for me to go off and watch loads and loads of pro wrestling.
That's right, Necronom.
Necronom.
He's a Jockster of the Mighty.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Any parting thoughts, Mr. Brent?
I guess we'll be here tomorrow, too, at some point.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do. Of course, it's going to be hard to... We'll figure out what we're going to do here. I can see you filming it as I fall to my death. I can envision this happening.
Yeah.
Well, don't say it like that's a given. I don't want to...
Oh. All right. It might not happen.
All right. We will talk to you guys probably tomorrow. Have a good couple days.
Have a good one, guys.
Bye-bye.